वेलकम टू यूपीएससी एक्सप्रेस सीरीज बाय VicThree IAS। मैं हूं अनमोल शर्मा और इस वीडियो में हम कंप्लीट टॉपिक कवर करेंगे एक ही शॉट में। दिस विल बी अ क्विक एंड फोकस्ड लेसन विदाउट वेस्टिंग टाइम। वीडियो के एंड तक यू विल हैव कंप्लीट कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी एंड एवरीथिंग यू नीड about the topic for the exam. वीडियो के डिस्क्रिप्शन में you can find the complete notes of the topic and watch this video along with the notes. Also join the Telegram channel of VicThree IAS for schedule, notes and other study material. Subscribe to the channel and follow us on Instagram. तो चलो शुरू करते हैं. So today we will be studying about Post-Guptas. गुप्ता एम्पायर के डिक्लाइन के बाद, जो कि 6th to early 7th सेंचुरी तक डिक्लाइन होना शुरू हो गया था गुप्ता एम्पायर, उसके बाद what was the political scenario in India? We studied in the Gupta Empire that the Gupta Empire there was a large degree of decentralization because of land grants. We studied कि Gupta Empire में for religious and official purposes Gupta Empire में land grants दिए गए थे, and eventually when the rulers, Gupta rulers, they became weak after Kumaraditya. These land grants or these autonomous patches of land, they started developing into separate regional kingdoms, and these were the kingdoms that formed the post-Guptan kingdoms. So till the time जब तक Gupta rulers were strong, तब तक they were just land grants, but वो weak successors के अंडर ये regional kingdoms बन गए. And what were these kingdoms? So talking about post-Guptan empires, we had Metrikas of Vallabhi. So over here we have Metrikas of Vallabhi, right? Then we had Mokharis of Kannauj. So this Kannauj was a very important center in the post-Guptan period, and the area was ruled by Mokharis. Then we have Pushyabhutis of Thanisar here in the region around Haryana, and later Guptas that were centered around Bihar only, or the old Magadhan Empire, right? So in the Malwa region there was a ruler called Yasodharman of Malwa, और कश्मीर में Karkota dynasty was there, right? So these were the regional kingdoms that popped up after the decline of Guptan Empire. Now we will study some details about each one of them. Talking about Metrikas of Vallabhi. So the capital city of Metrikas was Vallabhi, first point, and then they were the subordinates of Guptas. So they broke away from Gupta Empire only and formed their own regional kingdom in 6th century. The notable rulers are Dhruvasena and Shiladitya I. You can refer to the notes for more details. Now coming to the Mokharis of Kannauj. So capital of Mokharis was Kannauj, and they were vassals of Guptas. That means they were subordinate. Gupta Empire के subordinate. We discussed earlier under Guptan period कि certain kingdoms they were not directly controlled or directly captured by the Gupta Empire, but they were controlled through subordination. That made Mokharis the vassals of Guptas, and Gupta Empire के decline के बाद they became independent. And the notable kings, rulers of this dynasty were Isanavarman, Avantivarman and Grihavarman. Sometimes kings are given in the question and you have to match them with the kingdom they are related to, so this can be asked. Now coming to Pushyabhutis of Thanisar. So the capital was Thanisar and it rose to power under Prabhakar Vardhan. And the most famous ruler of this empire is Harshvardhana. We will study more about his empire in detail later, but know that Harshvardhana, the famous ruler, belonged to Pushyabhutis of Thanisar. right? And now we talk about the later Guptas, right? So later Guptas, as we discussed, they were centered around Magadha only. And one very important point to keep in mind, they were not the descendants of the original Gupta rulers. मतलब जो गुप्ता रूलर्स थे जैसे कि चंद्रगुप्ता एंड टू एंड कुमार गुप्ता, स्कंद गुप्ता, उनकी सक्सेसर्स नहीं थे. इट वाज अ different empire, it was a different kingdom, just that they shared the common name. All right, so this is an important point to keep in mind. The most important king of this time was, of this kingdom, was Aditya Sena. You can find more details about these kingdoms in the notes. They are mostly factual, so you can refer to the notes for that. Now we move to Yasodharman of Malwa. He belonged to the Olikara dynasty. Olikara dynasty, and he defeated India, or the empire, from Huna's attack. So Hunas were Central Asian tribes that kept on attacking India from the northwest. So from Huna's attack, he defended the north part of India. Now moving on to the Karkota dynasty that was in Kashmir. So Karkota dynasty, Durlabh Vardhana was the founder of this dynasty, and we know about this dynasty through the source called Rajatarangini by Kalhana. Rajatarang. तो ये जो बुक है राजतरंगिनी, ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट सोर्स है. इनफैक्ट दी ओनली मेजर सोर्स जो हमें कश्मीर की हिस्ट्री के बारे में बताती है, राइट? मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट किंग रिलेटेड टू करकोटा डायनेस्टी इज ललित आदित्य. ललित आदित्य is a very important king of Karkota dynasty. He fought against Yashodharman and also defeated the later Guptas. So more details you can find in the notes. These were the basic points related to all the later kingdoms of dynasty. You can take a screenshot, that will help you in the revision. All right. So after discussing about the regional dynasties in the north, we'll discuss what were the dynasties that popped up in the south during the same period. So the period roughly is between 4th century to 7th century AD. Alright, so this is the period we are talking about. So let's start with Abhira dynasty. Abhira dynasty, that was centered around Maharashtra and Gujarat. So somewhere over here, Abhira dynasty was there, right? And then there was Vakatakas. Vakatakas that were centered around this area of Maharashtra. The region and time overlapped between the Abhira and Vakatakas. Then we have the Ikshvahu dynasty that was centered around Andhra Pradesh. So this particular area was under the Ikshvahus. And somewhere here we had Kadamba dynasty. So Kadamba dynasty was in Karnataka. And in the southern part of Karnataka we had Western Ganga dynasty. Western Ganga dynasty was here in South Karnataka. And here in somewhere in the region around Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, there was another dynasty called Vishnu Kundin dynasty. Vishnu Kundin dynasty. And in the Tamil Nadu area, there was a dynasty called Kalabras, which was later overtaken by the Pandyas and the Pallavas. So this was the geographical locations of these dynasties. We'll discuss more about them in little detail now. You should know the roughly the area around which these particular dynasties were there. They are basically इनका जो area और जो time period था वो overlap होता था. They were in constant warfare with each other. कभी विष्णु कुंडिन अक्षवाहु dynasty को overtake कर लिया, या आपस में इनका लड़ाई चलता रहा. और इतनी भी ज्यादा इनकी जो हिस्ट्री है वो इतनी पर्टिकुलरली या वेल रिटन या वेल रिकॉर्डेड नहीं है कि हमें एक एक साल का एक एक रूलर का पता हो. So broadly only we can tell the area and the other details about the rulers. So more detail about each of these dynasties. There are like 3-4 points. Who was the founder? What was the capital? All that can be seen in the notes. It can be found in the notes, factual in nature. I don't want to stretch the discussion here. You can refer to the notes and you will find the main important points linked to each of the dynasty. But for now, you need to know the location, the capital, and certain important points that you can find in the notes. And we will be focusing mainly on certain major kingdoms like Harshvardhan, that was there in the north. We will be talking about Chalukyas in some detail and Pallavas. So these are the three major dynasties of post Gupta period, and इससे ज़्यादा questions आते हैं, so we'll be discussing about that. तो अब हम बात करेंगे हर्षवर्धन के बारे में, who was from पुष्यभूतिस. We just discussed पुष्यभूतिस of थानेश्वर का थानेसर का सबसे important ruler was Harshvardhan. He ruled from 606 to 647 AD. Right? And एक important point is Harshvardhan had two coronations. Coronations मतलब राज्य तिलक. तो दो, पहला थानेसर में and after that at Kannauj. After Harshvardhan captured Kannauj from the Maitrikas, उधर जाके second coronation हुआ. And he converted to Buddhism under the Buddhist saint Radhagupta. Alright. हर्षा का कोर्ट पोएट थे बाना भट्टा. So this is also asked in the exam sometimes कि कौन सा कोर्ट पोएट या historian किस king के कोर्ट में था. तो Bana Bhatta was the court poet of Harsha. And he wrote two books, one Harshcharita and the other one was Kadambari. And Harsha himself wrote three books, Priyadarshika, Naganan and Ratnavali, PNR. Just like your train ticket, Harsha also wrote three books, that is PNR. एक सबसे important point was Chinese traveler Huan Xiang. He visited India during his time. So ये question भी बहुत hot होता है exam में कि कौन सा traveler किस king के time पे आया. तो Huan Xiang came during Harsha, and he wrote the book Siyuki. And Huan Xiang के time पे दो important assemblies हुई थी. First was एक Buddhist assembly was held at Kannauj. Buddhist assembly at Kannauj जो कि हर्षा ने host कराई थी for Huan Xiang at Kannauj, which was headed by Huan Xiang only. And sixth महामोक्ष परिषद. ये महामोक्ष परिषद एक 5 yearly assembly होती थी at Prayagraj. So at Prayag, that occurred during the time of Huan Xiang when he came to India during Harsha's period. तो ये दो assemblies हैं जो Huan Xiang ने CUK में mention की है. Right? And when we look at the empire of Harshvardhan, we can see it was majorly North Indian empire only. तो North India में था majorly empire, because South में एक बहुत powerful kingdom था, that is Chalukyas. And Chalukya ruler Pulakesi II, he defeated Harsha at the Battle of Narmada. Right? And that ended the empire of Harsha and led to the decline of Pushyabhutis of Thaneshwar. And now we'll study about Chalukyas only. Right? So Chalukyas had four major branches. एक that was centered around Badami और Vatapi. तो एक का capital था Badami. Eastern Chalukyas थे Vengi में. Right? So Vengi, Badami, then Vemulvada, and then there were later Chalukyas. जब ये सब end हो गए, then emerged the later Chalukyas of Kalyana. Alright. So these were the four branches of Chalukyas, and Chalukyas were in central and south India, right? The dam was established by Pulakesi I, and he was succeeded later by Pulakesi II. As we discussed, Pulakesi II defeated Harshvardhan, right, at the Battle of Narmada. So Harshvardhan could never conquer south of India because he was defeated by Pulakesi II. And हर्षा को बैटल ऑफ नर्मदा में हराने के बाद पुलकेशी टू took the title of दक्षिण पथेश्वरा दक्षिण पथेश्वरा. That means the king of the south. That was the title of Pulakesi II. Keep this in mind. Pulakesi II का court historian was Ravi Kirti, and he wrote Aihole inscriptions. So Ravi Kirti was the author of Aihole inscription. Sometimes it's directly asked. And not only Harsha was defeated by Pulakesi II, Pulakesi II also defeated Pallava king Mahendravarman I. We will be discussing about Pallavas next, but he also defeated Mahendravarman I in Battle of Pulalur, and Mahendravarman I was a Pallava king, but his successor Narsimhavarman I, he defeated Pulakesi II, and after his decline there was a whole decline of Chalukyas. फिर later Chalukyas of Kalyana आए थे, right? तो major king was Pulakesi II only. We studied कि Battle of Narmada में he defeated Harsha, Battle of Kulalur में he defeated Pallava king Mahendravarman I, but his son or successor Narsimhavarman I defeated Pulakesi, and that led to the fall of Harshvardhan's dynasty. So now next let's discuss about the Pallava kingdom that ruled from 297 to around 800 AD. So that's a long period of time, right? So the Pallavas, it was founded by Simhavishnu. Simhavishnu was the founder of Pallavas, but the major king was Mahendravarman I. All right, and there are certain facts about him. Mahendravarman I created Parivadini. Parivadini was a seven-stringed veena. एक वीना जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट होता है, म्यूजिकल इंस्ट्रूमेंट, सेवन स्ट्रिंग वीना जो परिवादनी वो होता है, महेंद्रवर्मन वन ही invented that. और ये महेंद्रवर्मन वन was a musician himself, and a lot of cultural developments took place during his time. And Kanchipuram जो city है, it developed into a center of learning under Mahendravarman I, right? And he converted to Shaivism under Saint Appar. So there was a Saint Appar who converted Mahendravarman I to Shaivism, and he initiated rock cut architecture in South India. So rocks को cut करके temples बनाना, it was started during Mahendravarman I. And as we discussed, he was defeated by Pulakesi II of Chalukya Empire in Battle of Kulalur. More details you can find in the notes in the description box. Mahendravarman I was succeeded by Narsimhavarman I, and as we discussed, Narsimhavarman I defeated Pulakesi II of Chalukyas, and Narsimhavarman I had the title of Mamalla. So Mallas meant wrestlers. So Mamalla means great wrestler. So they practiced wrestling, and that is why he took the title of Mamalla, and he established Mamallapuram, that is today known as Mahabalipuram. So Mamallapuram was established by Narsimhavarman I. Alright, So after him there were other kings like Mahendravarman II, Parmeshwar Varman. The details you can find in the notes. Parmeshwar Varman. The details you can find in the notes. One important king after all of them, and the last powerful king of Pallavas was Narsimha Varman or Rajasimha. राजसिम्हा. एंड क्यों राजसिम्हा इंपॉर्टेंट है? बिकॉज ही ब्रॉट अ लॉट ऑफ पीस. इससे पहले कॉन्स्टेंट वॉरफेयर चलता था बिटवीन चालुक्यास, पल्लवास, पांड्यास, चेरास, बट पीरियड ऑफ पीस ड्यूरिंग राजसिम्हा. एंड ही स्टार्टेड with a school of architecture called Rajasimha School of Architecture. Rajasimha School of Architecture was introduced by him. और इसमें क्या था? For the first time, elaborate structured temple. Elaborate structural temples were built for the first time in South. Structural temples means not by cutting a rock, but जैसे brick by brick या फिर stones को use करके एक temple बनाना. And some of the examples you might already know. Kailashnath temple at Kanchi, right? So Kailashnath temple, this is the Kailashnath temple at Kanchi or Kanchipuram. That was built by Rajasimha. And the Shore temple at Mahabalipuram. Shore temple at Mahabalipuram was also built by Rajasimha, and he created Rajasimha School of Architecture. तो ये last important king था. After him, Aparajita Varman. Aparajita Varman was the last Pallava ruler who was defeated by Aditya Chola and who established Cholan Empire. The Cholas Empire, we'll study about it later. This marked the end of Pallava Empire. And also this marks the end of our discussion on Post-Guptan period. You refer to the notes for complete details and other factual knowledge. Sometimes questions are asked from this section as well.